So we watched a couple. I think we watched a couple. Yeah, the other Smart Avocados videos. I guess the first couple did pretty well. The H3 ones, and now we're on to Hasan one. But I guess the anti-Hasan H3 wave hasn't been kind to him too much. It was at first with the first video, but either way, let's take a watch out of it. It's called The Cognitive Dissonance of a Woke Streamer. I will say that for me, at least me personally, lately watching Hasan, he seems to be a lot more level-headed. So he's been doing his thing. Kind of seems like he's trying to, he's just trying to engage with criticism better, which makes sense. It can be difficult when you got a lot of eyes on you. So I'll give him that. I'll give him the credit for that one. I'm very bald. Wow. Let's get going.
Unless you've been living under a rock, then you probably have heard of Hasan Piker.
Welcome to Bro Tip, where we talk about the importance of safety. And if
That's not the first thing I think of when I think of Hasan Piker, but okay.
you don't, I'm going to come to your house and I'm going to have sex with your dog.
Wow.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
Hasan is a Turkish-American Twitch streamer, radical progressive, Marxist, socialist political commentator / multimillionaire.
Is he a Marxist? I think he just considers himself a democratic socialist. Am I right about that? I don't know.
That sits in his ivory tower in a $3 million West Hollywood home,
True.
sucking advertising dollars from malcontent children in rich liberal households while simultaneously feeling taken advantage of in our evil capitalist system.
Well, I think he says that he doesn't feel taken advantage of. Yeah. I feel like the best criticism to that, though, is that, for one, he calls out Amazon, obviously, very heavily. He says it's a very bad company and then takes an exclusivity contract. But I think my bigger issue is that, it bothered me a bit that he got called out for just watching stuff on stream. Not I do the same thing, but he would literally just watch it and then get up, walk away occasionally, not every day, maybe every day, but not for most of the stream. But he'd go to poopies and maybe he's I took my phone with me to watch it, but he would just put something on for people to be entertained while he walked away, right? And it was interesting that he's yeah, I have to do stuff like that because people need to be entertained because I have to stream a certain amount of hours a day. But it's yeah, but you took an exclusivity contract so that you'd have to stream that much. You know what I mean? So you're you didn't need to engage this much into capitalism, and you did. So it's kind of a shitty response, but yeah.
Zed King super chatted $5.
That was a
the
while ago,
word
so.
woke is the new racist and becoming cringe to hear all the time. Not everything is woke or racist, Lamau.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, that sounds a little woke, I guess. I think I might call him that, but
Piker preaches the evil of our capitalist society while simultaneously reaping the benefits and pretending to be a part of the working class and proletariat.
that part, yeah, he does try to identify with the working class a little bit. It kind of sounds a little cringe to me, but
Still taking advantage of low-cost labor.
Fucking capitalist that pretends and touts around like he actually believes in socialist values.
yeah. How long ago did this happen? That was 2 years ago. I think he rectified this. I guess I don't know.
We're not a cucked prick like that, bro. We're not doing that. Hey, he's actually devoted communist. Devoted communist, only paying people communist fucking wages, $50. Hey, I pay everyone same amount, okay? Editor, fucking to each according to their need. You don't need much. Hey, you make my videos for me.
Sounds like Watto from Star Wars.
And sucking as much money as he can out of the content he didn't create by eating food on live stream and occasionally letting out aggressive outbursts while he tries to suppress his miserable contempt for existence.
It sounds like me too.
My main driving force is my subscribers, my community.
Stop being a fucking douchebag. Oh my god, I am so much more progressive than you. Shut your stupid fucking mouth, okay? I hate you guys so fucking much. It makes me lose my fucking mind. Actively undermine everything I fucking say. I'm saying the opposite. Can't shut the fuck up. Some of you cannot fucking comprehend what is happening and what I'm saying. Didn't he go to war and literally lose his eye because some mujahideen, a brave fucking
Bro, I mean, I can't even get that upset with the outburst because I've been doing it too. Bro, somebody popped in. I'm watching a video of a content creator that he actively was I like this person. And they're why do you not like this person? And it just triggered me into fucking literally out of existence. It was insane.
soldier his eye hole.
Even remotely charitable or cared about the actual truth of what I was talking about, they would understand that
America deserved 9/11, dude.
Which is the worst thing. The reason why I hate it is because everyone loved it so much.
You got some weird fucking deadbeat loser comedian. What do you mean, Dan? What the fuck do you mean, Dan? Why are you doing this?
I remember when I saw this. I think Hasan was justified in getting angry. I just think that his anger was disproportionate here because he kept getting harassed about fighting. Well, I can't remember his name. Sam Hyde, and he just got angry, like went off and got a little too aggressive, a little too goblin mode.
You should probably conduct yourself a little bit better.
Are they fucking brutal? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the best response. Nothing will ever outshine the response to the concerned trans viewer. Yeah, true. That one was pretty fucked.
Are they oppressive? Absolutely. But as long as they keep their fucking head down, okay, they are making China prosper together.
And you must be thinking, wait, why does he think it's evil? Didn't he accumulate his wealth by pandering his radical ideas to a highly impressionable youth? Didn't he exploit the labor of other people to create reactionary videos using their content? Doesn't he literally...
Well, that's not what that claim is about.
Didn't he...
Hasan agrees to pay a YouTuber editor after exploitation. So what happened, I think, is that I forget the specifics, but basically he said he'd pay somebody, and then he like didn't, something like that. But
exploit the labor of other people to create reactionary videos using their content? Doesn't he literally own and...
But then again, you know, people will, you know, he'll watch other people's videos, but then people will make videos about him. He gives a topic, you know, he's got like a nice, it's a nice symbiotic relationship in the Hasanosphere, you know.
Online merch store called Ideology? Yes, he did all those things.
Does he? Why is it expensive? Maybe he pays American labor. That's cool.
Well, then why does he hate capitalism? Well, you see, it can't simply be that Hasan is getting rich by selling socialism to a brain-dead audience. Hasan would never pretend to be a working-class person that champions genocidal ideologies just to make a quick buck, right? No, of course not. All of his money, in his eyes, is clearly out of the kindness of his heart for giving his content out for free. Yeah, his content. But don't forget to subscribe to his stream right now for $5 and get exclusive behind-the-scenes videos of Socialists Gone Wild. Hasan claims he got interested in politics when a Turkish prime minister sued a journalist for drawing him as a cat.
That's a nice picture. Very breedable looking cat. You know, that's my friend Shane Dawson would tell me. Okay.
No, not drawing Hasan as a cat, drawing the prime minister as a cat. But today, we're not going to talk about the thousands of soul-crushing bad takes from this poster child of outrage culture.
I always knew Hannah Montana was a little fucking slut.
What?
Today, we're going to examine how Hasan is a perfect example of how radical liberals think they are above minorities whose opinions don't align with their worldview.
Oh, okay. We're going to go with the... What am I hearing? Somebody's pissing into an air fryer. We're going to talk about the Gideon situation.
See, Hasan spends most of his time calling everyone a Nazi that doesn't agree with his far-left ideas. A pretty common phenomenon among radical left-wing political commentators. Usually when they do this, it's to white people. It's easy for them to get away with this. But you see, these content creators weren't having any of that. When Hasan tries to educate black creators on their own experience and tell them why they are wrong. This happens all the time when liberals get on their soapbox, and it happens so often, it's even created a label for itself. The white savior complex is essentially that. Baby. It's a debate tactic that liberals use to crush dissenting opinions and manipulate people into supporting their radical agendas. This is Gideon.
Hey, listen. I want to make like a really racist joke right now that's like makes fun of white saviors but makes me look stupid, and I feel like I just can't. It's just too edgy. I was gonna be like, yeah, hey, they can't do it themselves, we got to save them, you know what I mean? That is the white savior complex, isn't it?
And this is what Gideon had to say.
There's this guy, and his name is Hasan Anabi. I'm just calling him Hasan. He reacted to my going to the most racist town in America video, right? I felt very, 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 very patronized. All right, so
please tell me he's not gonna whitewash this shit, right? Please.
Yeah, man. So here's the issue with that, because I have to qualify since we're talking about it. I didn't plan to talk about it, but you know, that's in the video. So this was the issue with the Hasan situation when it came to Gideon. Okay, we'll start it at the very beginning. Here's what we'll do. We'll make a timeline, very crude timeline depiction here and stuff. Okay. So he starts here. Gideon goes to what's considered the most racist town in America, right? And the reason that it was considered the most racist town in America is because of a viral video from TikTok where a guy was holding like a Black Lives Matter sign and people were calling him the N-word and shit. I think the guy was white, but right. So Gideon and actually a few other different content creators went there to make videos. So they went there, they made the video, right? And it was good, you know, whatever. So Hasan's reaction is very early into the video. What he said, he's like, oh, well, I hope he doesn't whitewash this video. That was what he said very early, like within like the first minute or two. Hasan said that, which is like, what the fuck? You know, insinuating Gideon is basically performing and making a performance for white people. Like, you're going to whitewash this? Then Gideon made the prescription in that video, like very shortly after, of like, oh, I'm here because I'm a content creator, right? So some of it's for content, but also because I'm black and these issues matter to me. And then Hasan's response to that was like, he doesn't actually care. So now we get into this situation where it's like, okay, you're invalidating this dude's experience. Like, what's weird? Like, at the beginning of the video, you haven't seen any of the video. You've seen like a minute in, and like, boom, boom, boom. We're just like, we're chainsawing through this like weird like rhetoric. It's like, okay, right? And so he's taking shots at him for a decent amount of the video, yada yada yada. Then at the end, he criticizes him for the Nazi take, which which wasn't like, I can understand the criticism, like, oh, maybe you get that Nazi guy too much of a platform, blah 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 blah. But it came off as very bad faith because of the way that they had loaded up to the video, and it was like very anti-Gideon. Now you could say it's because he's black. It's more likely that he just doesn't like Gideon because he's a Pokimane tier 3 simp, and Gideon, like, before this had trolled Pokimane. But it came off as like really insensitive at the very least, and it came off as racially insensitive. And he threw some like really interesting quips in there, like, oh, well, racism isn't just calling a black person the N-word. Because Gideon was like, hey, they're not treating me like I'm less than. And maybe that's because he has a camera on him. But, Hasan was going a little hard, and he was being patronizing. That's the way Gideon had felt. It's fair enough, right? So, this Gideon then made a response to it, right? Okay. Now you'd think, of course, at that point, Hasan's like, oh, let me see what he has to say. No, that's not what happened. Nobody cared until Keemstar made a video calling them racist. At that point, and listen, I'm just going to say, if you look at it from this perspective, they didn't say anything about Gideon's frustrations until a white guy inserted themselves, and all of a sudden, then Ethan and Hasan are there talking about it on Leftovers. Now, you could say it's because they all hate each other so much, and they feel it's such an easy dunk that's the reason that they responded. But again, it's a little bit peculiar that you didn't seem to care about Gideon's frustration until a white content creator brought it forward. I'm just saying, it comes off as a little bizarre, right? It could just be because they hate each other so much. Keemstar, Ethan, and Hasan. Right. Then when they come out about it, they lean into more of the dunking. Ethan has still to this day, I guarantee you, never watched the video, and he inserted his opinion, which I think was very ignorant. Even when he talked to Gideon, Gideon was talking about, he's like, you even know why I was there? I was there because there was like a really racist viral video. And Ethan's like, what do you mean? I never saw that. And that's the first minute of Gideon's video showing it. So I'm pretty sure Ethan never saw it. And so this is kind of like this is why people fear that it's very patronizing, very racist, and then condescending. And then Hasan walked it back. He's like, "Oh, I was just critiquing your shit," but he was like he was invalidating of Gideon's experience, even if he didn't mean to be. So that's where it kind of comes from. Why people feel like there was a bit of racisms in there. You know what I mean? So there you go.
I don't know why Americans have such a twisted and broken fucking understanding of what racism is, which is weird. I mean, I know Gideon doesn't give a shit because he's like, he's a content creator first. Like, that's what.
I mean, no, I do give a shit because,
That's after Gideon had just said in his core video that Hasan's reacting to, he cares because he's black and he's a content creator.
First, I'm a black man. To go out there shows how much I care. 2 minutes, he's in the video 2 minutes and 34 seconds, and he already judged what the entire video was. You haven't talked to the locals there. You haven't talked to the minority locals there like I did. So it's like, how are you gonna sit up here and tell me like how it really is? Everybody in this comment section, I literally had someone in this comment section say, I don't even know what racism is, and I went on their profile picture and they were a white person, and they were saying that I don't know what racism is. Bro, when I tell you I've not felt like this in my life, like, it's crazy, bro. Like, basically, I felt like they were telling me how I should feel.
But if Gideon didn't embarrass this guy enough, Abba and Preach made some excellent points on Hasan Piker and the radical left as a whole.
Now that you're in the art sphere, you're content creating, you're going to be around a lot of left-leaning people. They're going to tell you, no, as a black man, this is what you should feel. That's how they operate. Under the guise of, I know better than you, and I'm here with empathy and kindness, and I'm here to save you, they will tell you how you should feel. They will
I'm here to save you. Here to save you guys.
Like you into thinking you're supposed to be outraged when you aren't, and they'll tell you, wait, that's not a thing. When it's like, who made you the fucking arbiters of what's right or wrong? That's been my experience.
You don't even know what you're saying right now.
With these kind of
you just
super
don't get
progressive
it.
types.
You don't understand your own problems. I'm here to save you, bro.
Just get used to it. That's how bizarre this world is. You don't care about black folks. It's like, no, I love. Why am I just on my side to this fucking random to who? To Hasan. I always tell y'all, be careful of these fucking progressive people who try to fight you. There's obviously people on the right who hate minorities or hate the fine. But these people who've come under the guise of wanting to help you, what was it, Malcolm X?
I believe they were.
Yeah. It is basically since they don't really know what they're saying. Let me just explain to you what they're talking. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it really comes down to like this idea. It's so weird because people are like, yeah, I never know what like active like racism is, or someone's like, I just don't like you because you're black. It's easier to spot that, but it's not as easy to be like, oh, I'm really fighting for you, fighting for your rights. I really want reparations to happen. Oh, that's one of those things. It's so hard to detect because, here's my reality. Is that like reparations are just never going to happen. And I feel like sometimes when white people are like, yeah, we need reparations, they know it'll never happen. So they get to like basically virtue signal. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but they get to be like, yeah, I believe in reparations. And then but they would never vote it in. But they are like, it'll never happen. So I could just say I like this and get free brownie points. It's in the academic or in like the, this is called sucking black cock. Right, this is when you just virtue signal to black people. You know what I mean? But it's hard to tell if it's a virtue signal or if it's being genuine, and that's where it kind of gets difficult to detect the difference, where it comes off as a little bit more like insidious. You know what I mean? That's the problem.
We're talking about Malcolm X when he said this:
"The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way: the liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical
BBC,
than
baby.
the conservative. Both want power."
Well, let's not say BBC because but that's a stereotype. If it's not big, you don't want to make someone feel bad. That's one of the greatest black disprivileges, I think, is the stereotype that black people have big wieners. Because for me, like a girl doesn't. It's like, have you ever like went to take a sip of like soda, like Sprite, for instance? And you go like, oh, and it's water, but it tastes disgusting, right? But if you went to go for that sip of water and you knew it was water, you would have been like, oh, this isn't bad. Like, it's water, right? And you have a much less like visceral experience with it. That's basically the problem with the stereotype of BBC stereotype. Because then if you got like a black guy with an average wiggler and they're going to fuck, the person will be like, oh, bro, what the fuck? Now this guy, meanwhile, if it was me, you'd be like, oh, okay, I expect it to be that small. You know what I mean? That's what it is, bro. And that's why I feel like, well, that's one of the biggest ways that black people are oppressed. That's true.
The white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor.
Oh.
And by
Can you say that word?
winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives.
This has been a thing forever. It's not new. It's not brand new. It's been around since the good old days. Just because they lean left don't mean that they for you or they understand.
What's the negatives of the smart Asian stereotype? I don't know. Tila Tequila? Like, is Tila Tequila Asian? Wait, hold on. I think she is. Tequila. Is she Asian? Fuck, why did I think that she was Asian? Oh, she was Asian. Or she is. Yeah, she's Asian. Okay. Good joke, Papa Gut. Good joke.
Zed King super chatted $5. Mrs. Morello was a warning/meme in Everybody Hates Chris about liberal racism.
Mrs. Morello, who's that? Interesting. I didn't watch enough of Everybody Hates. Oh, actually, I did. It's a teacher. Yeah. That was funny. Yep.
Understand you or they know better, but they'll convince you they do. And that's the same arrogant attitude that a lot of these guys in progressive circles take.
But this isn't just a Hasan problem. This happens all the time with these leftist content creators, like this one right here. This leftist content creator decided to take this woman's opinion out of context to paint her as the bad guy. And, well...
I watched that video. I don't think that's necessarily an accurate interpretation. I'm literally just not going to qualify it. You can go watch my full video. Which is very long, so you won't. But, hey, it's content to watch. Because it's a lot to go through. There were some ways I can understand why she felt that he was not being charitable at all, so I totally get that. But I did a whole covering on their whole interaction, you know what I mean? Because it was interesting. But
she had some things to say about it.
Unconvincing.
When I tell you, when I first watched that part, I died.
Profoundly unconvincing.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Noah. I didn't realize that I had to convince you about my feelings about my representation. The superiority complex is wild.
Maybe it's time for
Like, all I'm gonna say here is, like, you know, I would watch their full interaction at the very least, their full videos. You go watch the video. I just said I'll try to link it in the description. But what I will say is be careful of just being oppositional in general. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of the, we're talking about liberal racism and basically the way that, like, basically where to an extent it panders to black people, and then when they fall out of line, shitting on them. And I understand that. That makes perfect sense. But don't do that same thing just because black people happen to be on your side this time. You know what I mean? Yeah, they both had some pretty good points. I thought it was a good interaction. You know, I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I liked the both of them. But just, that's what it comes down to, you know. So be careful. You don't want to deep throat it too, like those white saviors. You know what I'm saying?
The radical left to start eating some humble pie and stop demonizing everyone that strays away from their
The radical left. Eat some humble pie, radical left.
propagandist perspective. Hasan doesn't actually care about people. He cares about his agenda. Don't criticize him because, well, he'll react to your content and say a bunch of dumb, hypocritical nonsense.
Hasan certainly is angry, I'll tell you that much. I think he has anger problems.
And pause your video 1,000 times.
Yes,
so
me too.
He never gives his audience
exactly
a second to actually
digest content.
Listen to what the person has to say that he's criticizing.
I just want to say, like, I pause a lot too, but it's not to stop people from being able to, like, listen to what's being said. It's so that I give my feedback, and I also, like, sometimes I have to, like, say it immediately or I forget my point. You know, so I mean, it could be an active tactic to try to confuse people, or it might just be he might just be doing content, you know.
Despite Hasan's stupidity, everything he says sounds like something out of an authoritarian playbook. He silences the views of others, bans his followers from his chat whenever they disagree with him, and sits on his throne of lies while getting rich as fuck. His lifestyle and the way he behaves is so ideologically similar to a communist dictator that it's actually hilarious. This man is everything you'd expect from someone with such a shallow, ideologically driven view of the world. Ideally, if we were to analyze every single thing this man believes, it would take me thousands of hours. And in general, I couldn't possibly endure the suffering of listening to this guy speak for days on end. This is one of the main reasons
just put it on when you go to sleep. Or, if you're looking to hate Hasan more, make it your alarm in the morning. Because there's nothing I hate more than the sound of that fucking alarm every morning. Pisses me off.
I feel politically
triggers me. The wake up sound, traumatizing.
Homeless. Because radicals will ruin everything. Left, right, you get the same ideologically driven dribble that comes out of their mouth. It's basically a war between radicals, and the pragmatic individuals are stuck in the middle, which Gideon pointed out here.
At the end of the day, they're really just the same thing. And it's just like everybody reps their side so hard, but then like you get into the side you rep and then you realize that side you're repping doesn't even really rep you. So it's just like, why even like vote for that, you know?
Thanks for watching the video, friends. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.
All right, cool. Yeah, just make sure that you don't become you don't just rep a side. You know what I'm saying, dude? Don't just rep a side, baby.
I want Papa Gut to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.